also a lovely warm welcome to you on Saturday afternoon for joining us in this session of Autism in the Yoga Place. I'm your host today for this session, Lindsey Porter, and delightful to have the speaker panel with me today, which I'm going to introduce you a little bit more background about them, Donna and Julie. Donna, I'm interested in just asking you first of all, in terms of autism and terminology, because it does seem a bit of an evolving feast, what is it that yogis, yoga teachers need to know or don't really need to know much about in terms of when they hear the word autism? What sort of things would you say are useful to have in your mind or know?
This is quite, as you said, ever changing. And in the 20 plus years that I've been doing this and working with individuals with autism, terminology and understanding of autism has been evolving as we go, as people learn more and more. However, I'd like to start by saying what autism is not, because I think this can be really confusing for a lot of people. It's not a mental health condition or disorder. It's a lifelong developmental disability that you cannot cure. And it really affects how people communicate with other people and how they experience the world around them. And it's very personal. We call it the spectrum, but the spectrum is so broad and wide.
Very briefly, one of my favourite ways to describe autism is an autistic person's an iOS and a non-autistic person's an Android. An Android can communicate with Android, iOS can communicate with iOS, but you can't interact with the software. It's two different ways of thinking.
Somebody's wondering if there were any key things to remember in terms of instructing or cueing verbally.
I would say with that, just be really clear and really concise. So even though I know yoga now, I cannot stand things like telescope your ribs. There's a lot of teachers use lots of flowery language that leaves me going, what on earth are you talking about? So be clear and concise, and you'll maybe have to repeat it a few times. We don't always take things in the first time, so don't be afraid to repeat it and just give us that bit of, because again, you've maybe told us to do something and we're so disorganized trying to get our joints in the right place that we've forgotten what you've said. Or better still, show me. It's easier to show me than to try and get me into a position. If you show me a position and then verbally cue me, yeah, great. But if you just start saying, yeah, I can get really confused about where I am. The only other thing I would say with mindfulness and relaxation, now this isn't the case for everybody on the spectrum, but it's a case for a lot of people. We struggle to visualize. So lots of big flowery visually meditations can leave me really frustrated. I've done yoga for so long now that if I'm in a class and a teacher does that, I will go in and do my own thing. But at the start, when teachers are saying you're in a golden egg, you've been showered with golden light, and my literal brain's going, no, I'm not. So it's just an entirely different system. And for my system, I am very literal. If you say words in a sentence, that is how I will take them. I can't read subtleties. I struggle with sarcasm. So I like people to be direct, open and honest, because that's how I communicate.
You're never going to know who's coming into the class because they have autism, because they possibly may not tell you. They may feel really comfortable and come up and approach you and tell you right away, or they may not. So things I always look out for. I kind of teach all my classes as if I'm teaching my nurture yoga, but a little bit less intense, because obviously I know that I'm not teaching a room full of individuals with autism. However, I don't know if some of them may have autism. So things I immediately would look about is people's breathing. Watch their breathing pattern. Look at where they're breathing. That's a huge indicator for you to really relate to somebody's not comfortable, in whichever way it be. This may be mental health related. If I jump way back to when I said that autism is not a mental health condition or disorder, I must say many individuals with autism suffer huge mental health issues because of their autism.
That is just so interesting to get a bit underneath the surface, because I think a lot of people have a general knowledge, and just hearing that from both of you is just really fascinating.